Hi, my name is Grainge from Elite Outdoor Fitness, and I just wanted to talk about intensity minutes. Intensity minutes are really important, and when I talk about intensity minutes regarding Elite Outdoor Fitness, I'm talking 82% and upwards. The reason why we talk about 82% and upwards is because you start going into the realms of deficit, energy deficit, and the systems that are taking place and working hard, and the adaptations based on the stresses that you're putting on your body and the systems, all making those changes at quite an efficient level right up until the 82%-ish range. And then you start becoming a little bit deficit in energy, a cellular level, and from there you start increasing certain things like pyruvic acid, and thus lactate, blood lactate will increase, and there's a bit of a tipping point. And that tipping point essentially depends on where your lactate threshold is. You can be a very competent athlete and maybe have a lactate threshold around the 90%. And how do you work your lactate threshold out? Well, it's very similar to the FTP in a cyclist that the cyclists use for your the tipping point of your lactate threshold. And that essentially means that you're in deficit and you're going to start to pile in within about 45 to 60 minutes. And that's for every human being. So once you reach your lactate threshold, you will only be able to sustain that intensity, should I say, for a period of time, which is maybe an advanced level athlete, if you use it as an average, about 50 minutes. So you should really, after a period of time in training, especially on Elite Outdoor Fitness kind of platform, you should have a good general idea of kind of where your lactate threshold is, which means in turn, as long as you're getting the distance in on your LSDs and stuff like that, you can actually work just sub under your lactate threshold, and it should mean that you can pretty much go for an extended period of time, and then you can start turning it on, and you kind of know how long you've got in the red zone to a certain extent before you start to pile in. So intensity minutes, how do they kind of come in line with that way of thinking? Well, it's a progression, and your intensity minutes should build up over time, because your body, no matter how fit you are, and you can be extremely fit by doing math training, maximizing aerobic function, which is working below 82% to a certain extent. It does move a little bit, but we're using 82% as a marker. And that's essentially math training. It's working at a real efficiency level. And the level between 75 and 82% of your maximum heart rate is actually called the efficiency level. You're kind of maximizing the benefits across all the systems, and the system responses and adaptations that are made at that level are huge across the board. You know, you're making big gains in certain systems when you're running at 60%, and you're also making huge gains when you're working at 100%. But when you're working between the realms of 75 and 82%, you're almost ticking all of those boxes at quite a high level. And so that is essentially what people call as math training as well. So your intensity minutes of working above 82% are crucial, because you can sit at 82% or 81% all day long if you're a relatively averagely fit person. But as soon as you start to go into the realms towards your, or even into your lactate threshold, you are very quickly going to come unstuck. The feeling of working at your lactate threshold is something that you have to progress as well and get used to. It's just not something that you can bound into and say, yeah, he's fit and strong. It's something that we can sustain for a very short period of time, based on our experiences, a training experience. And at the same time, you have to build up your mental resilience of being in that zone, and also your functional resilience, physicality kind of level of working in that level as well. Some people that have never really kind of bound into the 82 and upward zones will find it extremely difficult to be even close to the lactate threshold, because their lactate threshold is probably quite close to 82%, maybe 82 or 83%, because they've never really engaged in training to increase that lactate threshold. So it's a progression, and it's done over time. And so you consider doing that in your training programs if you're doing your own. Our training programs here at Elite Outdoor Fitness will increase the intensity minutes over an extended period of time. So each week, your intensity minutes over 82% will start to increase as we move forward. And eventually, your tolerance of working at 82% and 84 and 85 and 86 and 87 and all the way up through the realms and further forward of your lactate threshold and VO2 max, that will be facilitated during the training program to ensure that you can manage the capabilities at that level. So really important that if you're going to be doing your own training programs, that you increase your intensity minutes, but at a manageable level to increase your lactate threshold and your VO2 max. Thanks for listening. There's plenty of video and audio blogs online, but today's subject was intensity minutes and the progression of. Thanks for listening.